on success, dreams in the making. I grinded for it, seems like an eternity. Now I know what it takes to make it. EYG the label, EYG the brand. EYG the label, and EYG the brand. Just elevate your grind. Exclusive young G's, put the city on our back. Grinding through the mud, climb up out the strong. Elevated status on done. EYG the label, EYG the brand.
Man, I'm still mad you ain't dropped that song, Jizzle.
Hey, like the rest of it. Hey, that's that one of one.
Man, maybe it was just made for the podcast. Maybe that's what it is.
That's probably why I never dropped it, bro. For real, cause bro used to always be like trying to do the same thing. Hey, send me that song, bro. You put that out there.
Then you perform it. You performed it somewhere, right?
I performed everything. We were talking about the other day, the EYG takeover. You don't forget about EYG takeover, man.
Man, listen, I sat down and I searched for that song one day, probably last year, for like 30 minutes.
You ain't gonna never find it.
On iTunes, Spotify. I was like, man, I know he released it. Maybe I'm spelling it wrong.
Nope.
That's that one of one, man. It may come out one day, who knows? But for now, it's the one of one.
It's good for the podcast.
It's for the podcast. You know what I'm saying? That would end up for.
Yeah, it is.
You know what I'm saying?
I'm downstairs today, man. See my room, you know. Got my money tree in the back.
I see it over there. Let me get
you know, my vision board back there. So then you know.
Oh,
that's
Be praying to God.
Yay.
You know, St. Thomas in the water. You know. But yeah, man. You remember I was telling y'all about the birds?
Yeah.
Stuck in events.
Yeah.
So they're supposed to come and get them out today. Everywhere we call, bro. They were like, we sent them a video, and they were like, the birds are endangered. We can't touch them. I was like, what? Man, somebody got to come get these birds, man. Like, give me a ladder. I'll touch them.
Say, I take care of it. Don't worry about
it. So we finally found somebody who's qualified to get them out. So they're supposed to come today. So I'm downstairs. Just in case they knock, I can hear them.
And they get them out of here.
Exactly. I'm so tired of them birds, bro.
That's it. I know. I can only imagine that, though, bro.
Man, listen. They wake you up like the roosters. What you got going on today, Rep?
Well, I started off my day with about 3.5 miles and I did some yoga, but I got to
Nah, we're not gonna breeze over that 3.5. Like
oh yeah, I did 3.5 this morning.
I started my day off with 3.5, just 3.5.
Yeah, I got woke up early this morning about 5 something. Had to go to the Curtis house to let the electrician in. They installing all the fans and plugs and switches in the house. Okay. And then later on today, I had to speak at 2:00 at the graduation for Lee County Youth Development Center. That's just like an alternative school for at-risk kids. And then I got a meeting today at about 4:00. So, you know, other than that, in school.
Cool.
Oh, you back in school, right?
Yeah, I'm in summer school. I'm taking financial analysis and supply chain management. So financial analysis is taking half of my brain right now.
Yeah, that sound like the real deal.
You sitting there scratching your finger and your head trying to figure that out. God, what is it, math?
Financial analysis. Yeah. So what is it supposed to like?
So financial analysis.
Yeah.
So you basically looking at. I'm only in like module 1 now. So 0 was just the introduction. I'm actually in the point where we're looking at financial statements like Apple or Best Buy, and we're looking at stuff like their liquidity, their equity, and so it's formulas. And the analysis part is you might say that in 2021. Apple had more on-hand cash than in 2020, right? So you're basically trying to see if your business is getting better or worse, or if you like, you know, in a stock exchange and you want to invest in one of these companies, you want to look at their equity compared to their liability and, you know, all that stuff like that. So the earnings per share. So we talk about all that stuff and it go fast because it's summertime. So,
yeah,
you know, every week is a module. It's not like, you know, every week you do something different. Then you take an exam. So
Jizzle, what you got going?
Ooh, today, boy, nothing.
I know you ain't got that going, but
lie. No, man, just cooling today, bro. Coring, man. You know what I'm saying? Let some stuff out. Basically, that's it for me. I get a little chill day today, bro. I get a chill day today, man. Just enjoying myself, pamper myself, man. I want to pamper myself today. Go get my toes and my fingers, you know, manicure and pedicure.
Yes, sir. You gotta take care of them dogs, bro.
I don't want to be there like you, no thing. You know what I'm saying?
Nah, bro, you don't want to be the podiatrist, bro.
There you go. I couldn't say it.
Yeah, bro. Hold on. Y'all seen this, man? I got to bring this up on the podcast, man. Y'all seen this?
Oh man, yeah, I definitely seen it.
So who y'all putting in that fourth slot, man?
But I also seen where they put Wayne on top of him. They say if it wasn't no Wayne, then you don't have none of these.
Yeah, but see, that's the thing.
Yeah,
it's the 2010s.
Yeah.
Mount Rushmore. Like it don't before it don't matter, after it don't matter.
Yeah,
because you would have to add in Big Daddy Kane and Rakim and all them. This is just 2010s.
And
what you mean 10s? Like I was
2010 to 20, or
20.
Yeah. So who?
Well, you gotta put a Future Hendrix in that, boy.
Yeah.
So that what Bron said. Bron said put Future in.
Yeah, I put Future in there.
2010,
Yeah,
I put Future in there. He been for a decade. He been hard for a decade.
Yeah. I gotta put Future right there.
He been going in.
Yeah,
and he different. He different than the rest of them. So he a rock star.
Yeah. You gotta put Future in that little slot. You got them. They kind of balance each other out too.
Yeah. As far as success, definitely, I say you gotta put Future, because I remember for like 2-3 years he was the hottest in the game. Like,
man.
Like they was listening to him in Toronto. I went to Toronto. That's all they was playing was Future in like 2012, 13.
Yeah.
So I'm
he's
like,
still good for a hook. He's still good for a hook,
Yeah. That
Tell Steve Harvey I don't want to. I thought that was a good.
Bro, he petty, bro. He petty, man. He heartbroken, bro. Ain't nobody saying nothing about that.
That's funny.
You gotta get to the streets now.
Yeah. Exactly. Selfishly, if we ain't talking about the success, then I got a different for a person. I'm putting Big Crit.
Okay, I thought that was what you were gonna say.
Yeah. I'm putting Big Crit personally, but if we're just going off, the fact that it matters, you gotta put Hendrix up there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man. But that's enough about us. We got a special guest today. I actually went to Clemson with her, and she's a woman who's in sports, a queen who's in sports. And I know there's a lot of times people are told, women don't know anything about sports, or you can't be in sports. So there's certain things that women can't do, and those days are starting to change. And she's one of the people that I know personally that's doing it at a high level. And she's one of my favorite people. I know I say that every week, right? That's one of my favorite people. But I guess we're bringing all our favorite people on in the beginning, And we got probably a whole first season to just be our favorite people.
Right.
We got a whole nother list. But her name is Morgann Mitchell. Let me see if she's still in the green room. Yeah, she's still down there. Somebody go get her from the green room.
So she's still gonna makeup at it. Oh, okay. Thank you.
What's up, Mo?
Hello. How are you guys?
What's up, Queen?
How you doing?
All right, we're blessed, man. How you doing?
I'm good. Thanks for having me. Just been working from home and getting ready to get back on the road soon now that, there's fans in arenas and all that good stuff.
Yeah. So you work for Turner Sports, correct?
Yeah.
And more specifically, you work directly with Bleacher Report?
Yeah, so I kind of started off doing NBA TV, running their social media account specifically. Mm-hmm. And then I've always stayed in social within our company, but we did like a reorganization between us and Bleacher Report. So now I'm doing some producing on that side. Okay.
That's what's up, man. Hey, listen, I've been watching the journey. Like I said, you're one of my favorite people. I love to see my people succeed. And when I started seeing you pop up on these courts, I was like, hold on, man, what is Morgann doing? Like, she is all over the place, yo. But before we get deep in that, Like, let's tell the people where it started, because I think it's important for people to be able to see themselves in you. You know, I think that's what inspires a lot of people. So where were you born? Like, where were you raised?
So I was born and raised in Minnesota. Originally, my dad used to play basketball. So born in Minnesota when he was with the Timberwolves, but we always had a home in Georgia because both my parents are from. Well, I'm here in Atlanta. Both my parents are from Georgia. So grew up mostly Minnesota. Come home every summer, doing all that type of stuff. And then after he was done playing, we just moved here full time.
Moved to Atlanta.
Well, south of Atlanta, like it's closer to the airport, because you know how people get sensitive. Like, you grew up in Atlanta? Like, no, I didn't. I grew up in the suburbs of Atlanta, and now I live in Atlanta.
All right.
Yeah, you got to be specific. Some people do get a little touchy with that.
Exactly. I'm not trying to have anybody come for me. You didn't grow that up. I didn't. You're right. You got it.
All right. So you mentioned your father, who, you know, is Sam Mitchell, and a lot of us know him from, you know, being a coach, and he also played 18 years, right?
Oh, not that many.
14. I've seen it
12
somewhere.
12 or 13.
Okay.
Because so he started with Minnesota the 89-90 season, and then he was done in 2002. So like that 12-13 mark.
Yeah.
So he had a nice little career.
Man, that's a great career.
All right.
That's more than a decade. That's
Yeah.
Top 5%. And then to go on as a coach, you know, you're doing this thing. You know what I'm saying? So how much of, you know, your dad being the great Sam Mitchell, how much did that affect you and wanting to be involved in sports? Because I know you started off playing basketball, correct?
Yeah. Honestly, I never had a desire to work in basketball. Like growing up, I didn't want to do that. You're away from your family a lot. You know.
Yes, sir. We got you.
Tough life. Oh, you went into the archives. Yeah. So like growing up, I played sports just because like I'm tall. So people are like, play sport, whatever. So when I moved back down here, when we moved here permanently, I was in 7th grade. So like I tried basketball, then ran track, played some tennis, but volleyball is really what stuck. So I played volleyball in college, which is where me and Jock met at Clemson. But yeah, I didn't think, if you would have asked me growing up if I was ever going to work with the NBA or whatever, I would have been like, no. Because I know the sports life is a grind. So I was like, do I want that or do I want more balance? But here I am.
Yeah, because you grew up in it. So you've seen the grind. You know, you've seen Pops was always on the road. And sometimes it's inevitable. Sometimes you're chosen. You're one of the chosen ones.
Yeah, I avoided it for a long time, though, like a really long time. And I think that because I got into it when I was older, it was helpful because I had a base of who I was. So I understood what I'm going to do, what I'm not going to do, what my strengths and weaknesses are. And I think sometimes when you come in as a kid and it's all you know, it's hard to create any boundaries for yourself. So I think it's good that I tried some other stuff first before doing this.
What other things did you try before getting involved in what you're doing now?
I was coaching. I actually had my real estate. I coached, I still do some coaching now, girls travel volleyball, and mostly focusing on like high school age. Then I tried coaching at the collegiate level, did that with Georgia State for a year, had a great experience, but I realized I like working with younger athletes more just because I feel like I was able to impact their lives a little bit more and help with the development of them as people, not just on the court, but off the court. I got my real estate license, did that for a minute. I also had a good base of like editing and stuff from Clemson. So I did that before I got into social media. And then from the editing portion, I was freelancing with Turner, did an internship with NBA Summer League. And then from there, they connected me with Turner on the social side. And that's how I got my first job in social.
That's dope.
Okay. So you're on the social side now. But do you ever see yourself getting in front of the camera?
So with my new role, I do a little bit. Like if you follow Bleacher Report on TikTok, that's where kind of you'll see my stuff now. Or I did a piece for Kevin Garnett went to the Hall of Fame. So shout out to Big Ticket. So I went to Minnesota and we did just like a fan kind of thank you piece. People talking about how impactful he was to the city and how excited they were for him to be in the Hall of Fame. So I'm going to start doing some more stuff. So it's going to ramp up for like Eastern Conference Finals since I'll be on the road. But for now, it's mostly just like TikTok, like little funny videos here and there.
Yeah. You gold for that. Like, you know what I'm saying? You reserve now, but we know you're a little silly, you know what I'm saying?
I'm very silly. It's just like working from home, and I worked out this morning. It's just like it's easier when you're on the road or around people to like get energy from people. But yeah, normally in like conversations like this, like I'm more chill. I'm like, hey.
Yeah. You also had your or you have, I don't know if you're still doing it, your own podcast, correct?
Yeah, we did it for a couple of years. And then with like COVID and everything, it kind of it was hard because we did it in person. So me and my co-host Marcel, we just feed off each other so well. So we did some during quarantine, like from home and all that. And I think everything kind of runs its course, and I'm not going to say like we'll never do it again because I loved it. Like it was so much fun. But I think we're all trying to figure out what's next. Like our producer got some amazing opportunities and he's doing more stuff now with different people. The guy who used to do like all of our shooting and everything for it, he's been working with movies and getting great opportunities. So I think if the time's right, we'll figure it out again. But for right now, everybody's doing great in their lane and we're all still talking. We're just friends.
Yeah, I definitely enjoyed it. I watched it. Watched a few of the episodes. My favorite part is when y'all would go back and forth about like the collegiate sports because I think he's like a Georgia fan, right?
Yes, he's like a Georgia football fan, but then like a UNC basketball fan, but he didn't go to either school. So I'm like, figure out your loyalty. Like, just figure it out. Commit to somebody.
But it's a lot of people like that in the Carolinas who like go to Clemson and then they like a Duke fan. I'm like, man, what do you like? How does that happen? You know, or you go to NC State, but you cheer for UNC basketball.
Yeah, like, that happens all the time. Yeah,
you have some homeboys like that. Got it?
Yeah, because they grew when they were raised. They was always like a Duke basketball fan or something of that nature. But they just went to college at North Carolina State because they were trying to get into engineering or whatever. So, but they wouldn't lower the NC State at all. Maybe football, you know, because NC State pretty decent in football. When you talk about like in North Carolina.
Yeah.
But basketball, North Carolina State, maybe in '83, but 83 when they won, you know, Jimmy Balvino, you know, but they not really that good.
I don't know how you do it. Like my loyalty for anybody else went out the door when I signed that dotted line. I was like, well, that's it for Alabama. And we got one Alabama fan on here who didn't go to Alabama.
All right. That's my loyalty though.
That is his loyalty though. He been an Alabama fan forever.
Forever.
My whole family are Georgia fans. Like they all went to Georgia and stuff. So it's just a house divided and they respect me. I respect that they're never gonna win anything.
That's true.
Hey, Georgia, I don't see Georgia ever winning, man. They just always mess it up. Like always. And as long as Nick Saban is in college football, they definitely never win it.
They'll win eventually, but not no time soon.
In 2037.
Get rolled out there, man.
They have a good recruiting class, though. They just don't win. I mean,
they always have good recruiting classes. Always. I don't know what it is in the water in Athens, but
always.
They just don't pan out.
They never.
It's a young boy from here that just got his first offer from Georgia, from Opelika. I think he's about 19th grade, but he about big as you though.
What do he play?
Offensive line.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he about 6'7".
If you got that first offer from Georgia, the rest of them coming.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
For sure.
Definitely.
In 10th grade. Ah, man, that is.
He might not even be in 10th grade. He might be going to the 10th grade. So he might be the 9th.
He might be going to them camps.
He probably went to the camps. He been seen.
Yeah, that's his first offer. So if that's his first one, then he gonna Alabama, Clemson, whoever.
Yeah, they all
have all those.
Morgan, did you have any basketball offers coming out of high school?
I didn't play basketball my senior year. My coach, so I started playing volleyball as a sophomore. And in my junior year, my basketball coach tried to make me to make a decision. He was like, you need to be more focused on one or the other. Like I played basketball because when I got down here in middle school, that was the first team I joined. So like I had a bunch of friends. So we all just played. My goal was never to play collegiate basketball. So like when he tried to ultimatum me, like, you got to pick volleyball or basketball, I'm not going. This has been cool. I'm out. Because I was going to both practices anyway. So I was like, my junior year was crazy. I would go to basketball practice first, have to leave that early to make it to volleyball practice, depending on the time, or I'd switch. And I still was lifting in the morning, and I still had to get off, and I had to do punishment runs for leaving basketball early and stuff. So I was like, I am killing myself. And junior year academically is hard too, trying to figure stuff out. I was like, I'm doing all this to stay on the team because I love my teammates, but
it ain't working out.
It's like, if you're going to give me a hard time over it instead of seeing how dedicated I am, like,
yeah.
I don't like ultimatums in general, so that one.
Yeah. But if I were the coach, I could understand though, because we had that happen to us.
Yeah, our basketball coach was like that.
Yeah, when we was going on recruiting visits and all that, we missing games and we were losing. He was like, "Y'all never here." Like, so
yeah.
And I wasn't the only girl doing it. We had a girl who went and played soccer collegiately, so like she still had to miss stuff. There was another girl who played volleyball with me, but she wouldn't even come to our basketball practices. Like, I was at least coming to stuff. She was like, no. So we had some softball girls. Like, basketball where I grew up was not the thing. Like, we were good, but we weren't going. Like, nobody was like, oh, I play AAU also, and I do all this. Like, no. Our main sports were other things, and we just all played basketball because we had always played basketball. So he lost some people, but
I can see that. That's kind of like our story. Like, we weren't basketball players; we just played because it was fun.
Yeah, like, you shouldn't have put us on the team. Like, but also we're better athletes than other people. So
the best they had offer.
It's like, come on. It's like, come on, coach. We're going to Clemson's and Alabama visits and Auburn's and Mississippi States and LSU's and Florida States. And you mad at us because we're going on these visits? Like,
we didn't play Northview.
you want me to sign with this junior college in basketball? That's what you want?
Thank you. Like, we know who's gonna feed us. Like, no.
Yeah, man. I don't know. Coaches be tripping. I think it's selfish, really. Because you there to save the players. And I think when they let their selfish intentions get in the way, it ruins the team. Like, ultimately,
especially though with high school, like, I understand college because like that's your career, like whatever. These high school coaches are teachers first that happen to coach a sport, and it is what it is. Like, just have a good time, just have fun. Unless you go to a basketball school where you're trying to send kids, like that's how they're getting their scholarships. If you're at a football school, if you're at volleyball, like whatever, just be happy. Just enjoy your time.
Yeah, we got to make sure we tag some coaches on this episode.
Most of them didn't even play in high school. That's the crazy part. I wasn't good. That's the crazy
exactly.
Part.
Exactly. Part. All right, Mo. So, elaborate. Like, what exactly do you do with Bleacher Report? Like, I know you mentioned the TikTok thing earlier, but additional to that, what else do you do with them?
So kind of a lot. I'd say part of my job is helping with, we have like some short video stuff. So if you're looking for like a countdown or some like social news explaining like something that's going on in the world, So like if you see like we had like a Trae Young top 10 countdown for Bleacher Report that went on the app and all that stuff. So I helped make that. But then also with my going to games, it's all that behind the scene footage. Like when I was in the bubble, all that BTS stuff, or when we were in pressers with the players, I was asking questions, trying to get good sound bites for us to create content and stuff off of. So it's really just, my main focus is basketball, obviously, but we have different people on our team who have different passions. So like some people are really into betting, so they get into the BR betting space. Some people are really into football, so they focus on BR gridiron. But because I'm coming from the NBA TV and NBA on TNT, where we usually get more access than Bleacher Report, it's now a way to kind of fuse all of us together, because we're all in the same company, but we all weren't working together. So now everybody's kind of together, we're fusing, so we're all doing stuff for a bunch of different brands, not just one or the other.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
So do you think the workload decreased during COVID or like increased as far as like working from home? Do you think it was tougher or easier?
It was tougher. Well, COVID went through different phases, right? So like in the beginning, when there was no basketball, they didn't have us doing anything for a while, but we were just like in preparation mode. So we had like 4 or 5 different plans of what to do if basketball came back, and depending this is just based off of guessing, how we guessed it could come back. So a lot of the beginning was just being ready for whenever the time came. Then I'd say once we had a start date, we knew it was happening, then it was a lot of work, because you want to get people hyped. You're trying to help people understand these bubbles, what's going on, the play-in, all that stuff. And working from home is harder just because there's less collaboration. Like when you're working in a creative space, it's easier to kind of be around people to feed off of. So it's like, if I have an idea, I'm going to ask like, Jeremy, like, what do you think about this? And then Jockey might chime in, like, you know what I mean? Like people are just going to bounce in and kind of help you just from that. So I'd say it was harder at first, but now we're a year plus in, so everybody's smooth. So once you hit your cadence, you're fine. There's some stuff that people have to go into the studio for, like it's hard to do a show because we need a control room. So like we do NBA Twitter Live. So I help find what talent should we have, or like identify people. We need to be in the studio to try to help those connections work, just like because you need to, right?
Yeah.
To Twitter and all this stuff. But for my stuff, I don't need to go into an office. And now my new team, most of them are in New York. So even if we started going back to the office, I would still be on whatever Zoom, WebEx, whatever meetings anyway, because most of my people don't live down here.
Yeah. So the headquarters is in New York, or?
So there's different ones. So we're based out of, Bleacher Report is based out of New York and San Francisco. And then Turner is based out of Atlanta. But CNN has like a New York and an Atlanta. So like, and we're all owned by the same company. So you can kind of if you're in any of the hubs, generally you're fine. You have access to everything you need, or like whatever.
Okay.
That's what's up.
Cool. So the bubble, super interesting. When they first announced they were doing it, I was like, well, that'll never work, you know. But it worked. Super successful. What was like your least favorite thing about the bubble and your most favorite thing about the bubble? Because you were there the entire time, correct?
Yeah, I would say, what was my least favorite part? I think it was just really hard going through everything that was happening for our people and being in a bubble, right? So like I was one of the people that was out protesting and like doing all these things when I was here, like when I was in Atlanta. And then when you go to the bubble, we had talked about beforehand, like the players, you know, had talked about wanting to use their voice and all this stuff, and they have that platform. But for me, I'm like, well, what am I doing? Because at some point when you feel like all you're doing is just giving money, you don't really feel like you're doing anything. Like that feels like the easy way out. Like I'm not putting my body on the line. I'm not helping anybody for real. So I'd say like that was the most challenging part for me. And also I come from a family of like mostly women. So when we were getting all, like when the cases were coming out about like what was going to happen, like with the Breonna Taylor trial and like all these things, it was hard because I didn't have my support system around me. And usually like I would have gotten to my mom's house for us to watch like what was happening. I would have been around my aunts and having these conversations. So obviously you can call people, but like it doesn't hit the same. Like it just doesn't. So for me, that was my least favorite part of being in the bubble. I just felt a sense of guilt. And for being safe, like during COVID, I wasn't worried about getting COVID in the bubble. I felt like I was in the safest possible situation. We got tested every day. We were wearing our masks. We were only around the same people all the time. We weren't going anywhere besides our bubble. And even like food or whatever that was brought in that you could order, like there was very specific steps and precautions being taken so that we can make it through this experience together. So I felt like guilty about that to some degree because there are so many people suffering outside the bubble. But on the flip side of that, my favorite thing about it was getting around people. Instead of like my bubble was just my family. Like I was not hanging out, even though Atlanta was open. Let's be very clear. Like I could have been in New Street. Open.
Atlanta never closed.
Like it got to a point where like I would walk into a restaurant and like pick up food and people be staring at me like, oh, why she got a mask on? Like, oh, I don't know, because we're in a pandemic. Like,
right.
Y'all gonna be like, I'm crazy, you're crazy right now. So on the flip side, it was nice to be able to be around people I hadn't seen, feel safe, watch basketball, like just get to hang out. Like it was just nice being able to hang out with people and not be worried, because so much of my time at home, like outside of bubbles, I was only going to my mom's house or only going to visit my dad because like I knew they were good. But like my friends, I didn't see my friends for this entire time because, oh yeah, well, I've been cool. I just saw you on Instagram. Like, what are we talking about? It was just nice to be around people.
Yeah, that makes sense. Well, my favorite thing from you being in the bubble, because I was living through you, is this right here. Yeah, that's my favorite part of you being in the bubble.
Those are my bubble flexes.
Yeah, hey, listen, you was in the bubble flexing on us now.
Well,
so did everybody get a chance to take these pictures?
So no, long story short, no. I'll say like I'm cool with like, because I'm always like on my phone, whatever. I get to meet different photographers and whatever. So for the past, I think I have two. I think I have like 2 or 3 final or pics with like the trophy in general. And then like the LeBron stuff, there was 3 Black girls, like me and like 2 other girls that we were kind of helping like the players a lot. I was asking a lot of questions to the players about social justice. Like I was very clear with all of them. I was like, hey, y'all said you guys want to have these conversations, so I'm going to ask you questions about it. But I would prep them beforehand, like give them a heads up what I was going to ask. Like, I think the reason why that picture happened with LeBron is because I asked him about, he had put up a tweet talking about protecting Black women. So I specifically asked him in one of the pressers, I was like, what does it mean to you to protect Black women? Because I think there's a lot of discourse surrounding what happens when something has already happened to us versus how do we stop that from happening? Like, how do we not have these incidents where Black women are being attacked, not just by police officers, but by men?
Yeah.
So that was where I think that came from, because like that kind of blew up. I'd say like that was like my big viral moment from the bubble. The answer to that question, which was very thoughtful. I think he went for like 2 minutes or something just talking about that and talking about the women in his life and everything. So I think that helped. And the more you see people, the more like you say, hello, how are you, whatever. So I wouldn't be like, oh, I'm best friends with like any of the players. But I think there's now a different level of respect because we kind of helped each other. I was like, I need y'all to talk about these things. y'all want to talk about these things, but there's not many people in this bubble that look like me that are going to ask all these questions.
Exactly.
So we kind of relied off of each other to make sure that the conversations were still happening.
Yeah, that's important. You know, that's why we need people at the table. You know, and the fact that you're at the table, you know, if we ain't at the table, the food never gonna be seasoned.
All right.
You know what I'm saying?
Ever.
It's never gonna be seasoned. So we definitely need people at the table, man. I'm glad you were able to be there to help kind of, you know, push the envelope on that situation, because like you said, the country was hurting while these guys were forced to go and play basketball and kind of try to ignore it, but that's not what they did. And that was also one of the things that I appreciated, you know, watching, you know, the guys like protests, etc. Like the one day they canceled the games. I was like, oh yeah, this is dope. You know, I don't know if that would have ever happened in the NFL. So it's always good to see the NBA players step up like that.
I think there's a different level of freedom though for the NBA players versus NFL players. Like NBA players can do that, and they know that you need them in a way that, like with NFL, there's been so much emphasis placed on organizations' health versus like players' health, and like what all that means and what they've done with their CBAs and all of that. So like, I feel bad for football players because I know that they want to do more, but it's also the next man up mentality is so different when you have these rosters of 55 people versus we got these 15, and that includes these like 2 G League players. So you can't let your stars go without it being detrimental to your franchise. Like if you don't have LeBron and AD on the Lakers, like
we see what happened.
But yeah, like, what are we doing? Like, why are we? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So the NBA players have put themselves in a really great situation, and that comes off the heels of like older players teaching the younger players like how to get your bag and how to make sure that you are valued. So they have to be able to step up and do these things and have these conversations because there's other sports that can't.
That's true.
Well, I got a question then. How you feel about stars like James Harden and, you know, some other players? They're being able to force their way out of contracts now because they have so much power that they can actually say, well, I don't want to play here. I don't care if you gave me $200 million. I don't want to be here. So how do you kind of feel about that?
That doesn't bother me at all. Like, if you're not in a situation that's good for you, leave. Like, my thing with James, like, I think the way he went about it was messy, but I understand what his thought process was. Like, let's all be real. Was he going to take Houston to a championship?
No,
he know that. Yeah,
we know that. And he hit that point in his career where he had done all the all-star appearances. They went to playoff however many years. They had rotated in different talent. Like, I think he understood that he'd maxed out on his potential of being the man, right? He did a great job, but he's not that guy. Like, he needed to team up with somebody. And if you care about getting a ring, let him go. Like, Daryl Morey was the GM that brought him in. He's gone. So what are we doing here? Like, he didn't want to be a part of a rebuild. And he got the money to do it. Like, if you put yourself in that position, then go. Like, football players, what happens when they try to leave? Their careers get destroyed. They get blackballed. They get publicly lynched. Like, it's a mess.
Yeah, we're watching it now.
Yeah, unless you Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady, you know, somebody like that.
I mean, it just depends on the situation. So, like, we know that. So it doesn't bother me when players say, like, I want to go when they've put in their time, energy, and effort. James did that.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, very valid points. Now, what we're not going to do is breeze over the fact how you be fresh on these courts. That's what we're not going to do. So do you have a stylist, first of all?
No, can't afford one of those. If y'all know
come on, man.
Sports, if you work behind the scenes, you do not make the coins that people think you make. You get to go to cool stuff, but it doesn't reflect in your paycheck. Like, oh yeah, no.
Hey, listen. So you say you behind the scenes, but you don't dress like you behind the scenes now.
I like to look nice.
Yeah. Hold on now. Y'all see this fit she got on right here. Come on, man.
I think that it's important to carry yourself how you want to.
Now you see, look, when you turn the
you
foot,
turn that foot.
when you turn that foot, you know you fresh.
Those are my first pair of J's, and those were my birthday gift to myself.
Hey, listen, you call it what you want, but you know,
can't hide it.
You can't hide it. You can't hide that money. You can't hide that style.
I'll say this, for the beginning part of my career, we had to wear black vests, and I will probably have to do it again. You have to wear black vests like over your clothes so that people know that you're allowed to be on the court and stuff. So I was just like, I hate this. Like I would look nice because all my other coworkers, like for Eastern Conference Finals and Finals, you dress better. Like you just do. This is what everybody does. You do more business casual. You just look nicer. I'm always in a black vest. I was like, in a bubble, there's no way I'm going to have to wear a black vest. Like everyone's going to know everyone. I can like wear whatever fits I want. I'm not worrying about this damn vest. So I was going to look cute. And like same thing for, that was the all-star picture. We were in a bubble. So y'all know me.
Right.
So you bring out the classic J's on that one, huh?
Because All-Stars, it's like regular season games, you just like dress however. I mean, you never want to look like a bum. And also as a Black woman, like I feel like I have to try harder, like to make sure that I'm always presentable and all these things. But like for All-Star, you dress nice. Like people be in like heels, like suits, like for All-Star usually. So like that was a more dress down, that was less businessy. And then for finals, that's why I had on heels. Also, I didn't have to walk as much because I'm not traveling through a huge arena. Like the arenas that we played in were small. It was like the court, like some seating, but I wasn't walking like a billion miles everywhere like I would in a normal situation.
Oh yeah, so you brought them heels out.
Yep, that was and just because it was a closeout game, let's not act like that was game one of the finals. These are the pictures that we're taking, like this closeout. I had like 2 closeout outfits.
Yeah. You planned it right. You knew what time it was. All right, so on the round table, we do this thing called stepping up to the podium. All right, it's time for you to step up to the podium, Mo. So when you step up to the podium, basically what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna ask you a series of questions. You give me your first answer. You don't got too long to think now. Maybe a little bit on the first one. The first one kind of tough, maybe. But after that, you got to answer. All right, you ready?
I hope so.
All right, first question. Name or list your Mount Rushmore of the NBA.
Just based on people I've seen play, or you mean like in the totality of the NBA?
It's up to you.
I'm only basing it off of people that I've seen play because that's what I do. For me, it's MJ, Kobe, Bron. Who's my 4th?
Stunned on a picture of Michael J.
Speaking of MJ,
I'm giving my 4th, and I'll explain why. It is Steph, because I just feel like he changed the way we play. Like this version of basketball is directly related to Steph Curry's shooting ability and how he's expanded the court. I think that KD is amazing generational talent scorer. Like he'd be my 5th, but I'm giving Steph my 4 because of how he changed the game.
Okay.
I like that. You said Kobe, so you said Kobe and you said MJ. Yeah, you know.
Yeah.
I'm a little bit older, so like that's how my stuff is.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that Mount Rushmore.
Yeah.
All right, what's your Mount Rushmore of the WNBA?
That one's harder. I think you got to go Lisa.
Got to.
Of just NBA. You got to go Coop, Cynthia Cooper.
A lot of people don't know about Cynthia Cooper, man. Ooh, she was so good.
Legend.
She was so good.
I'll go. I was a big Tina Thompson fan. Like something about the red lipstick. Like I was.
She had the lips, did she?
Yes, I love Tina. My own personal one. I'm going Candace Parker.
Okay.
Oh man, you gotta say Candace.
Like,
Candace is a dog.
Y'all, I wore like and it's different because I watched Candace from college through W. So like seeing her at Tennessee, like my mom I always got braids, but she finally let me start putting like different colored hair in my braids because I was like, Mom, I want to be like Candace. I just love her. She's so beautiful. Like Candace was my girl. Like I loved watching her play in college, like and also in the pros.
I think y'all actually resemble.
Yeah, I was gonna say that, but I didn't want to. You know, some people get mad.
Hey, listen,
so I will take that compliment every day of the week. So thank you.
Yeah, when I met you at Clemson, I was like, she look like Candace Parker.
I didn't do that when I was younger. Like I was on a cruise one time. They're like, Candace? I was like, no, I'm so sorry.
It's funny how people ask you that like that. It's like
I got it at work one time. Like it was some guy, and he was like, he came up to me. He's like, "Can you sign my son's graduation card?" And I was just like, "Do you know who I am?" He's like, "Yeah." He's like, "Can you sign it?" And I was like, "Okay."
You know who I am?
But I signed it, and then he was like, "I thought you were Candace." I was like, "You work here. How could you?" So his son has my name on his graduation card. And not
Morgann Mitchell. Who is Morgann Mitchell, Dad?
Like some girl I work with. Sorry.
Some girl like Candace Parker.
Yeah. I asked, I was like, "Do you know who I am?" He's like, "Yeah." I was like, "Okay."
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, man. When I went to the Dominican Republic, like they just kept saying Shaquille O'Neal. Because you know a lot of them are short, so
right.
6'7" of them look like 7 foot. So they're like Shaquille O'Neal. I'm like, nah, bro. Chill out, bro. All right, next question. Choose one coach, Coach Roy Williams or Coach K, and why?
I think for me, I respond as a player better when someone's like yelling at me, which like I'm sure is unhealthy or something, but I respond better to like that yelling to like light a fire. So I think Coach K would be a better coach for me.
Okay. That's a good one. If you weren't working in sports, what would you be doing? We heard a few things that you did before you started working for Bleacher Report or Turner Sports. What would you think you'd be doing if you weren't working in sports?
I mean, if I wasn't working in basketball, I'd just be coaching volleyball.
So you still would be working in sports?
Yeah, but I'd be coaching. Like, I did like marketing for a while. I was like,
It's too bored.
Coaching. Yeah, I don't like sitting at a desk all day. I like being able to get up and go and all that. So.
Okay. All right, next question. Favorite memory as an athlete?
Probably we won state for volleyball my senior year. So that was my favorite. Like as an athlete, as when I was playing, winning state championship our senior year, because we beat a team that had beat us 3 other times that season. And my mom just kept telling me, she's like, it's hard to beat a team 4 times. It's hard to beat a team 4 times. Like she just was putting in my head. And I had a really good game. So like, yeah, I'd say senior year.
Okay. So I would say one thing, but I would just say in general, give advice to any of the little girls who may be watching or young women who may be watching that want to have a career in sports, but they're nervous, they're scared, they're unsure of themselves, whatever the case may be. What advice would you give to them?
I always tell young women to walk in your power and don't be afraid of saying that you don't know something while in the same breath being to say, but I'll figure it out. I think that there's a lot of men in sports who have never played a sport, who know nothing about sports, but because just they're men, they've just been given this like pass to have these conversations or whatever. So I always emphasize making sure that you're on your game. Like don't go into a meeting and stuff unprepared. Don't go into an interview not knowing what you're talking about. Know your subject matter, but be confident and don't feel like you have to do too much. Like I refuse to argue with anybody who acts like they know more about basketball than I do, because this is my life. Like I lived it. So don't be afraid to just cut people off, move forward, whatever, but be confident in your abilities and just make sure that you're prepared when you're called on.
Perfect.
Go.
Listen, women get the best answers, y'all.
All right. So thoughtful.
Hey, listen, y'all summed that thing up so good. I'll be talking for 7 minutes.
Trying to get the same answer across, right?
But you gotta remember though, we also don't get that. Like if you're in a meeting as a woman and you start talking for too long, someone's gonna cut you off.
That's
So I've learned, and especially in sports because everything's so fast paced, to be very concise and be very detail oriented. And we're trying to get from here to here. I can't go like this to get there. It's gotta be this.
Right.
Hey, Jock, you didn't answer who she got for, the finals. Who's the team? Is it the
who
Lakers?
You got?
Is it
who you want and who you got? Because there might be two different answers.
No, it's the Nets coming out of the East.
Okay.
It is what it is. It's the Nets. From the West, people being hurt is what's hard.
That's
the West beat up.
The West is so beat up because even my favorite series obviously is like Suns Lakers right now, but with Chris Paul's shoulder being hurt, what does that mean for them going forward if they win?
They win, yeah.
If they win, if AD can be healthy enough to win with the Lakers, what is the next injury going to be? So it's
get out the bed.
I laughed. So it was so disrespectful. Like on TNT last night, they started calling him street clothes.
Yeah, street clothes. I was like, dang.
It's like, y'all are so, but he's always hurt. So it's like, I was just shocked that he made it through the bubble, if we're being real, with his foot injuries and like all of that stuff. So I think whoever comes out of Suns Lakers, depending on the level of health, has the best chance. But also, I think Utah's going to be in Western Conference Finals, like Jazz versus whoever. I feel really good about the Jazz this year because they're healthy. They play team basketball, and I feel like everyone understands their roles really well. Like it's not the most like sexy version of basketball to watch. It's like that Spurs, that like slow grind. We play as a team, like whatever. And I think that people sleep on my guy Donovan Mitchell. So
they definitely do.
He
plays support for each other. So put on for my Mitchells.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah. You got to represent for the Mitchells, right?
Gotta represent for the Mitchells, man.
Yeah.
People.
Another person that people sleep on, but he keep waking them up. He woke him up last night. Is Dame Dollar.
Oh, man.
Oh my God!
I am so hurt for him.
He tried. He get it. He's just where he at, man. I don't feel like they're gonna be able to do it in Portland.
Yeah, I feel like Dame and Donovan Mitchell, like it's just their markets, yo. Like, people disrespect them.
I think they're in different situations though. Like if you look at the Utah Jazz's complete roster versus Portland's complete roster, Utah has a better roster.
Oh, absolutely.
Like,
absolutely. It's just his market.
I think the market sucks. But the Jazz were really good in the early 90s. Like they have that like Stockton Malone situation. So, and they do a good job of building teams. Like I think they need to get more credit for that because when you have nobody wants to go to Utah. You're not getting in Utah. They build teams in Utah, so that's for it. But on paper, Portland looks good.
Oh yeah.
Like if you list out people, you're like, yeah, they got good size, they got good guard play. Like I want them to figure it out so bad.
Yeah, me too. Because Dame, man, some of his best years just going to waste.
Wasted, man.
It's like
he's efficient, and because he's a shooter, it elongates his career. If he was only driving to the rim all the time, like he gets beat up. But if he only had a layup package and was like how D Rose in the beginning of his career, getting off of his athleticism, Dame made that transition earlier. So I feel like it's a better situation.
Yeah, D Rose and D Wade too.
Yeah, they had to completely change their games and reinvent. And I think Dame still has like his complete body of work, and he just understands when to do what. Like he was so efficient last night, like 24, like 12 from 17 from the three. Like he was efficient.
For the 3-point line, I was like, gee.
Yeah, bro. 12-17.
Stepping back and everything. Like, it wasn't just spot ups. Like,
And you knew he was gonna hit it, or you knew it was a high chance he was gonna hit it.
if you, I wish I did anything with the same level of confidence that Damian Lillard has when he shoots a three. Like,
Yeah. It don't matter.
it don't matter.
Yeah, when he shoots a clutch shot, I think. Like the look on his face when he shoot a last minute shot, last second shot, yo, he just think he made it every time.
He's locked in.
Yeah,
like,
bro.
on a different level.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay, last question. I asked this question to everybody. The fellas already know what it's going to be. If you could choose 3 people, they can be living or they could have passed, to have breakfast, lunch, and dinner with, who would those 3 people be and why?
The day of meals.
The day of meals.
Like, am I picking 3 different people for like each meal?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, so like for breakfast, I'd have this conversation, lunch, and then okay.
Uh-huh.
So for breakfast, I would do my mom's mom who passed away. She would love to eat with President Obama or former President Obama and Michelle Obama. Like, she loved them so much. So like that would be my breakfast meal. Then for lunch, I'd probably do like a Oprah, Beyonce. Who else? I want like some like woman like power. Rihanna. I would do like those 3 in like a lunch setting.
I'm coming.
And then
I'm coming to lunch.
I'm trying to
I'll be the server.
For dinner, I'd want Jay-Z had a great did y'all watch Uninterrupted? The new one, like for like with him on the shop?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I thought that conversation was really good. So I'd do like Jay-Z, Nipsey,
Shout out
and
to Nipsey.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think who else I want some like free game from. I'm gonna go curveball in that group and add like Serena Williams. That'd be a fire conversation.
Yeah.
Well, we can say you think outside of the box, so because you the first one that actually tailored it like you did. Most people just pick a person and say, "This is it."
Yeah, like I want, because like I miss my grandma and she loved them so much. I just think there's something so important to like the first Black president and a woman who grew up in like the segregated South. Like, we would have loved to get to meet them and like show gratitude and just have those conversations. And then like I love women empowerment, so like I need like a boss lady like lunch. Like I feel like that's like good vibes. And then you want to top it off with people who have done things that other people have never done before. Like the way Nip lives his life was just so amazing, and like the way he gave, and not just his artistry, but just like the way he lived his life as a person is just so profoundly great. And then Jay-Z doing things that no one else has done before, like in a business space after building from his rap career. And then Serena, she almost died like giving birth to her daughter, right? Like she came back from like devastating injuries that other people wouldn't have dreamed of, and then came back on top and has created this like life for herself. And it's just, those are important people like that people need to hear from more.
Pillars.
Yeah.
I agree. Man, once again,
there she goes.
Phenomenal answer. Once again.
Batu, I was like, oh my gosh, I have no idea.
You clearly had an idea.
Yeah,
what people do I want to meet one day, or what people do I want to listen to talk? Because like some people I don't want to meet them, I just want to hear what they have to say.
Yeah,
fly in the room.
Yeah,
that's valid too. Definitely. Yeah. All right, so you off the podium now. I'm not asking you any more questions.
Step off of them.
You did. You did a great job. Yeah. So one of the final things that we do on the podcast is we give a gem of elevation, and that's either a quote, we show a video, a clip, or I give some words of advice just to help people continue to elevate in life. And the actual gem of the day, the gem of elevation today, is something that involves you, and you mentioned it earlier And so I don't need to say anything. I'm just going to click it because I think it's important, and it's something that people need to hear, especially Black women need to hear if they didn't hear it, or it's always good to refresh and hear it again. So without further ado.
A lot of people have said that as well. Specifically for you, what does that actually mean?
I think at the end of the day, respect is respect. And I mean, you just look at the history of, of America and the disrespect that Black women have gotten all for the last 400 years. I mean, you can't turn a blind eye to that. When I look at my household and seeing, my daughter who's 5 on her way to 6, and my wife and my mom, rest in peace, my grandmother, and so many Black women that's done so many things for me, and seeing the sacrifices that they made, especially my mom when I was growing up, there was still disrespect along that way, and it's still like that today. So, in the case of obviously in Breonna Taylor's case, it just, shows it once again that the walls of a neighbor is more important than her life. So. Not only did I want to acknowledge that for all the queens in this world, all the Black queens in this world, but also the ones that's in my life, my personal ones too. So I just kind of had a moment, yesterday, and I have a lot of moments, but I felt like it was important to let, Black women know that they're not alone. No matter the disrespect or what they may feel, don't stop. Because that's exactly what they want you guys to do. They want you guys to stop. They want you guys not to be as powerful as you guys are, not as strong as you guys are, as determined as you guys are. They want y'all to be at bay. They want y'all to accept what's going on, and I know for sure I won't allow that. I'll continue to, when they're feeling down or they're feeling like there's no journey for them or no gateway for them to be heard or be seen or be respected or be accepted. My job is to continue to let them know that they're important to everything that goes on, not only in America, but in the world. Everything that goes on 24 hours in a day, 365 days, 66 on the leap year. So that's what it's about.
Thank you.
Boy, you answer that question there, boy.
Man, listen. Speaking of good answers. Like, that was my favorite answer of 2020. Like, I cried watching that the first time when I seen it. Like, man, this is so powerful that I don't think there's been an athlete ever that understood the responsibility of having a platform that you have. And he's just so well spoken, and just to give the answer that he gave to a Black woman who asked the question was just, man, it was breathtaking. Like,
besides Ali, he would.
Ali, yeah, he understood for sure. Yeah. Modern day,
and he let them know like you were, a Black woman at the same time. He was like you are, you know what I'm saying? Like, he could have just as women, he kept referencing you, like
y'all. This is what they want y'all to do. I was like, man, this dude here is cold blooded.
Directly to her.
Dog, I was emotional. Like, at the end, I'm like, thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.
It was a heavy, like, that's what I'm trying to, it was so heavy. Like, that time was so heavy. And being in a space with like mostly men, like, you just I did feel alone. And I had like a couple of like Black female friends that were there, but it was hard. And to be a Black woman watching the life of a Black woman matters so little to people. You kind of just started just feeling sad. Like, there was just like this cloud of like sadness. And it's like, what are we doing? Like, does it matter what I do at all?
All right.
And then, because I was even talking to one of my managers about it, I was like, I don't feel safe in my home. Like, she was at home. So I just think that it was just such a profound answer and so thoughtful. And I didn't realize I needed it, but I needed it. And I know a lot of other women too. So I appreciate you highlighting it again, because it was a hard time. And it still is hard, but I think that we've had so many people step up that I hope we just remember the pain that we felt so that we know how to push through and that we know how to make sure we don't recreate that again.
Yeah.
Facts. Big old facts.
Man, it's heavy. So, ladies and gentlemen who are watching, I posted Morgann's tag. That's your Twitter name too, correct?
Yeah.
So you can follow her, your handle. You can follow her on Twitter, Instagram, and watch her to continue to strive and soar.
Be great.
And be great and ask these wonderful questions and raise these topics and, be in the circle and at the table. We need you to keep seasoning our food. So, yeah, we appreciate you coming on and, chopping it up with us on the round table.
Most
and
definitely.
always supporting you. If you need me or my brothers for anything, we're here for sure.
Thank you guys so much for having me. This was a great feel-good conversation. You always love those. So I just appreciate you guys. And I know y'all are doing great things in your community. So keep pressing. We need y'all.
Absolutely. We need you too, Queen. We love you. Thank you for coming on. Representative.
Until next time, stay elevated, my friends.
Hey.
We out.
Hey, Queen. Love y'all boys, man.
I love you.